Okay? There or here.
Yeah, sit there if you want.
Just
Oh,
turn
no, that's.
Sit down. There we go.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Oh, thank you,
Is that one on?
thank you, thank you.
I read recently Yolanda is up for parole. Was it 2025, I think?
Something like that, yes, I haven't been aware of it.
I think I read it in the news like 5 days ago.
Oh,
That
okay,
2025 is her like potential parole date.
okay.
Do you, like from making the film, and then there's another film you made about Selena called Conversations with Intellectuals.
Which is an extension of the people that are around the table discussing, you know, the impact that Selena had on the culture. It just goes on for a long time. And it's really interesting in a different way. It becomes very academic.
Looking back on the films now, do you have any new insights or different ideas about
Oh, about what? About her death?
her death and
No, I
is there
think,
any,
I think that's what happened. You know, I believe that. My only insight is that it's very good to look back and see how the culture treated women of color, you know, and how they felt. And you see it with the little girls, you know, that they have this low self-esteem about being little Mexican girls. And this is what happens in this culture. And I'm so happy I made this film, because it says that, and it's something that we cannot forget, you know? So, that's...
I think it's interesting about the intellectual women talking about sexuality. It's sort of like it's an either or, and I'm a both woman. You know, why the heck can't you be beautiful and kick ass and own a business and do all kinds of stuff and have presence of yourself?
Yes.
I mean, you know, this either or business. I just wanted to say,
Yeah.
come on, let the little girl enjoy sexuality.
No, of course, yeah, yeah. But, you know, you have to think about Texas and, you know, Catholicism and religion, and, you know, all our cultures bring a lot of different things with them that we have to adhere to, otherwise we're beaten down.
Yeah, that being said, I have criticism in my granddaughter learning that primarily, and I'm trying, you know, I tried to tell her, yeah, there's more to it than that, but no, she stayed good. So I feel the other way sometimes. I mean, that's all there is. It's very limiting.
That's right, it is. And Texas is like an island. Don't you think?
Bible Belt.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
question? Go ahead.
Comment about 70 years ago, I was in San Antonio. That's my wife, but I was dating a Mexican girl at the time. I'll never forget her, Mary Margaret Munoz. I called her Maria Margarita. This isn't a love story. We were sitting in a cafe in downtown San Antonio. I was an officer in the Air Force then. I was talking to her in Spanish. I said, well, Mary Margaret, what the hell? The point of my story is that woman was embarrassed to speak Spanish in a mixed restaurant. She didn't want to talk Spanish. She was fluent in Spanish, fluent in English. 2 years of college at St. Mary's, I think it was. And she didn't want to speak Spanish in all these gringos, or whatever the hell you want to call them, sitting around. And that was one of the first tastes I ever had. And I'm from New York City, and I always, you know, the Puerto Rican, they don't give a damn. They'll talk about whatever the hell they feel like or where they feel like. But
Maybe it's because you took her to see the Alamo.
I took her to see the Alamo and she felt embarrassed about another story.
The movie, right?
And I made a joke. I said, in the movie, John Wayne, and she was embarrassed. You know, we got free tickets through the airport and we're sitting in there. And she was embarrassed because all of the Alamo and John Wayne. And she actually wanted to get the hell out of the lobby after the movie because of all the prejudice. And I was joking with her. We had a car, and I said, why don't you go that way? I'll make sure I don't know you. And that was a big funny thing. We both laughed our ass off, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And I was down there, knew what happened to her and her family, welfare family. She was the only sport. Parents had gone, her grandmother took care of them all, and a little sister she had. And that was typical of all of the, not typical of all the Mexicans. I met some cops who married their Anglos, all this Anglo-Mexican horseshoe. Oh, still to fire.
Yeah,
Anyway, let
I
me
mean,
ramble. I just
yeah.
want to tell you, thank you for the movie. At least they probably speak Spanish out in the open today without bullshit.
Right.
Thank
That's
you.
right, that's right. I mean, I remember when I went to school first in the United States, and I was in the 4th grade, and we were not allowed to speak
Yes.
Spanish. We had to give 10 cents, which was a lot of money then, you know, for that was our fine, you know, and so we're not allowed to be in this culture. You know, we're too dark, we're too ethnic, we're too everything. But fortunately, because of all the struggles, the civil rights, the Chicano movement, all these things have really helped younger people, and they don't feel as bad, but they still feel bad.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the purpose.
So Selena was the first. She was, you know, the first of ethnic, like Latina, you know,
Mexican.
non-white pop
Yeah.
stars, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it was in a way inevitable that some tragedy would have happened because of her, like, of all the differences
Her ethnicity.
and what she represented?
You would think so, but I remember thinking that it wasn't going to happen. I never thought that it would happen.
Gee.
It was a real surprise for me, and I think for a lot of people. You know, I didn't think, sometimes you see people and you say, oh my God, if it happens to them, maybe go with God or whatever, you know. But this was like just unexpected, surprising, horrific, and like generally, typically, it was someone close to her, right?
Yep, that's how
Yeah,
it goes.
she wasn't, I felt that she wasn't protected enough.
Yes, that definitely was,
I've heard
that's
that.
what I felt too.
Yeah, I felt that her father did not teach her
Yeah,
proper things to know,
No.
to defend yourself.
yeah.
Your father has to teach you. I think, I mean, I was taught by my father how to protect myself. You know, my mother could tell me, but she was a woman, so she was vulnerable too. And the way my father taught me, I thought, oh, I kind of know. I kind of know what I have to do. Especially if you have any ambitions of anything, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Could you speak a little about your evolution as a filmmaker, like how you got into being a film director? You know, was it at a young age? Were you into the arts? Could you speak about that?
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit about it. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do or be. I was a very curious kid, so I was, you know, I wanted to learn everything, and then I never thought of choosing. I felt that it had to kind of choose me, that I could have the facility of making something, you know. And when I was in Mexico, my father, of course, was, you know, a very big influence on me. He was a very kind man and a very smart person. So he would talk to me a lot about many things. And one of the things that he taught me was to dream. You know, to have dreams that were bigger than our abilities to attain them. I remember he worked in a newspaper, so he read a lot and would bring newspapers and show me things, you know, and one day he brought a picture of a woman that was in the beach in France, I think. She had just crossed the English Channel. It was nighttime, and she was covered with whale blubber. And in those days, I was a really good swimmer, and my father said, look at this. look at this, she just crossed the English Channel yesterday or something. You can do it too. I know you can do it, you're really, and I said, I don't wanna be covered in whale blubber in the cold English Channel. Forget about it, you know? But he was always pushing. You can do it, whatever you want, you can do, but you know, focus. So, I don't know if that answers the question.
Kind of what is your background? How did you have a step-by-step that led to Selena?
Oh, step by step. Well, I was an immigrant. I lived in Mexico. I lived in the border. My parents left Chihuahua, which is the desert in northern Mexico, because my father felt that we would have a better life if we went to, you know, the United States. And he got a job. Well, we crossed the border. We went to live in Mexicali. My father was a director of a newspaper, and so consequently, there's a lot of information always coming into my life in the form of paper, magazines, and books, because he would get all this, right? So, you know, that really formed me a lot, and it gave me a lot of dreams and a lot of possibilities. So once I went, you know, to Mexicali, where we were going to cross the border and go. But in those days, you could get your papers. You can get a green card, and it wasn't like you had to sneak in. You know, a lot of people have their documents in order. And we went to Los Angeles, and it's a very long story because there was a lot of elements to adapting to living in the United States, you know, and struggling. That battle that you have to fight, you know, in another culture, which you see Selena doing, even though she's like third or fourth generation, I think. Yeah. So, and we went to LA, and in Los Angeles there's a whole, you know, it was a whole thing of film. Film was the thing. And I started working with an educational film company that was run by an Armenian man. And I mean, I did other jobs as well, but that was the film job that I had. And I'll never forget it. And a lot of the kids were from UCLA, and they were like, you know, sons of some illustrious architect or something. And this Armenian guy said to me, "Can you do this or can you do that?" I said, "Well, I'll try, you know, I'll just go do it." And I went in and did it. And he said, "You can do anything. Just do it." You know, and I remember everybody else was struggling, and it seemed to me that I caught the concept of how you make a film, that I understood it, you know, so that I didn't have to kind of reinvent the wheel in my head. Yeah, and that's how it started. And, oh, you want the whole trajectory? I'm a very old lady.
Not that old.
Oh, yes, I am.
That's the goal. Keep going.
You're right. No, so I started making films there, and then I fell in love with, I work in educational film, but then I fell in love with experimental film. You know, I started going to Claremont College, where there was a professor that showed a lot of experimental films. And I remember, you know, seeing these films, and I thought, well, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can do any old thing. That means you don't have to make a film like this or like that. You can invent it, you know, or like my father said, swim it, you know.
Do you remember some of those early films that you watched where you were really impressed?
Yeah, yes. I saw, what is it? Oh God, I wish I could remember the title. I cannot, the title doesn't come to me, neither does the filmmaker, but when I remember it, if I do, I'll tell you. But, and then also in Los Angeles, there was a lot of films from abroad, from Italy, from France, from, you know, so many other places, so interesting, so beautiful, so inspiring. So I fell in love with that. And then, you know, I worked and I got married, and my husband wanted to come and live in San Francisco because he had friends here and because he loved San Francisco. I had never been, so I came here with him. And I was exposed to experimental film because there were many exhibitions of experimental film here in North Beach, right? And I was an avid viewer. And it occurred to me that I could get a master's at the Art Institute because I had friends who had gone there. So that's what I did, and I went and got a master's at the Art Institute and started studying under different filmmakers. Yeah.
Question? Yeah.
What was your inspiration to do the first one?
Oh, the very first one, it was a quincentenary of the discovery of America and the 500-year anniversary. And the Whitney curator asked me if I had anything. And I had started this film with the Culture Clash. So that was...
And you wanted the world to get another picture, or what was your point?
My point was that this point was never being made in my experience, and I thought, yeah, you know, let's do it. Let's do it because that's the way it is for people. You know, that's my sympathy is with people of color because I feel that we've really been given a bad deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody else has done the narrative, so.
Oh, that's right. Oh, to do it like this? Oh, because I'm very crazy too. I like funny stuff. I like experimenting.
That was good. I appreciate that.
Oh, good. I'm happy about that. Thank you.
Claire?
I really liked the Columbus film, and I thought it would make a great stage play. Had it ever been made into a play?
I think it was partly, it was the boys, the Culture Clash, these three guys from San Francisco, they had a stage play of Columbus, but it wasn't like this, it was different. So we, you know, my idea and their experience, and we worked together and did this crazy thing. And then it was a moment when they were experimenting in TV and using a lot of footage from other things, you know, in using blue screen, and I thought, yeah, it's so cheap, you know, because mostly sometimes I didn't have enough money to make a real flashy film, you know, it was always saving money.
It's so visually inventive, though.
Yes.
Do you think so,
Yes.
Chip?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, does the rear screen projections and these other things
The
happening.
blue screen,
The blue screen.
yeah.
And the kind of parallel ideas that come out that are not in the dialogue.
Right.
They're in the visual. You know, the performances are great too. Of course,
Yeah.
that's cultural.
Yeah, they're very funny. I like them.
How was the
Yes.
film received that in its day when it came
Oh,
out?
people loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
When I was a kid in college, we were taking a course of American history. The point of my trying to make is, one of the guys in the class got pissed off because somebody said something derogatory about Columbus. The guy was a Jesuit priest. His theory was he was the front man. Isabella and Ferdinand. He whipped on his inseparable from the Vatican. These people had no souls. There was a big theological discussion. These sorts of bitches had no soul. Some of the priests said that's bullshit. There was a big argument in the Catholic Church. And it goes so deep, you can't believe it when you, I never got into it as a scholar, but my God, it'll blow your mind. No
Yeah.
souls? And some priests said, of course they have souls. God's creatures do. Others said, no, they don't.
Yeah,
And Columbus, of course, was the front man for an empire.
of course, yeah.
God, it was horrible. Excuse me for ranting.
No, you're a little rant is okay.
It's worthy. Isabella, wasn't she a kid?
Yeah, she was. She was as hell. That's what begun them all.
I didn't know he was Italian, I thought he was.
He wasn't, was he? Wait a minute.
Who, Columbus?
Yeah.
Yes, he was
Italian,
Italian.
but he was running for the Spaniards, that's right.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get,
It's just a
Get you.
business.
yeah. Yeah, he was running, he was a professional explorer. He
Yeah,
would have sold out to anybody.
yeah. I have to apologize for the quality of the tape. I didn't know how to fix it, so I wasn't gonna stop the screening. You know, because it's very dark in some places. What is it, Chip? What do you think is
I
wrong?
think it added to it. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, all that perfection ain't always so.
Yeah, but I think it could be, it's brightness and contrast. You know,
That's it.
That you can do on
It
a
had to
TV
be-
set, so, it can be tweaked,
That can be tweaked.
yeah.
I
Maybe
don't
you,
think it was
So
a
the shadows added to it.
That was mine.
everybody just a little
No
face
mistake,
coming out.
right?
No mistake, baby. Sorry.
It's also a dilemma of, you know, now we live with such high definition
Yeah.
imagery all the time,
See,
right?
That's why
Everywhere
these
I
were
go.
the nineties,
And,
yeah.
you know, films made,
Yeah.
and like, to me too, before that point, the arrival of high definition video, now they look just automatically old.
Yeah,
That's
And
right.
less sharp, you know.
yeah,
Right.
that didn't occur to me, the thing, but I get it now that you're saying that. But, yeah, but I just remember that, just the odd, you know, the odd visuals, the things
Right.
coming from nowhere, the water in the background, the ferry going by, and yeah.
Yeah. It was a little. You didn't see a lot of the images properly, but that's okay. You got the gist of it. Well, thank you so very
Are
much
you-
for everything. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a couple more questions. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
let's do it.
Are you working on any projects these
Yeah.
days that you can speak about?
You know, yeah, I'm wanting to do something, but I don't know that I'm 80 years old now, so I don't know that I have it in me to actually pull it out, pull the thing out of the hat. You know, it's harder now. It's so much harder when you get older. So, but I'm gonna try. And that's it. And it's about the importance of storytelling as transmitted from generation to generation, and how that is a historical occurrence that has to be kept alive orally and personally. And that's my
Yeah.
craziness.
Maybe we could show this new film once it's finished, or
Oh,
or a
absolutely.
rough cut, or a
Yeah.
first cut.
Oh, yeah, I've
I
got
know.
heavy. I have other things you can see. If you run out, just look it up in the internet and you'll see.
You had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm gonna cuss now. Are you working with AI?
AI? No, I can barely work with videotape.
How do you feel about the idea of artificial intelligence in filmmaking, and what is your sense of that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, just a very uneducated feeling about it. Like, there is no replacement for real human beings. You know, there is no replacement, and I'm sure that it'll be very problematic. I mean, I think it will affect the viewer in terms of how they react to the acting, and to just the fact that, you know, this thing is not real. It's going to be like cartoons. maybe. I mean, but I'm just talking. What do you think, Chip?
I think it's going to be, for the writers of narrative films, it's going to be a real challenge, because that's where AI can really, seems to be able to function pretty successfully.
In the
For
writing?
the writing?
And so, and of course, the producers and the studios in Hollywood, they're always looking for a way to cut corners, save money.
To make
why
more
not use
money.
an AI-generated script.
Exactly.
And then we're also on the verge of when the actors can be recreated digitally, and you eliminate paying, you know, residuals and all that. So, kind of frightening time that we
I
live in.
think so, and also I think it's gonna be frightening for us because the whole idea of film is that we see ourselves reflected,
Yeah.
right? And we're gonna be able to tell all the little crazy stuff, you know? I think, I don't know very much about it.
That's the advantage, otherwise, it's a wildfire that we can't contain. And it really is, I think, the bottom line has to be to really exemplify our humanity,
That's right,
individually, collectively.
exactly. I agree.
I would wonder how it'll be applied to documentaries and nonfiction. I mean, we've seen like the Anthony Bourdain documentary, they had an artificial intelligence narration of his voice,
Mm-hmm,
and that came out a few years ago.
mm-hmm.
What do you expect for documentaries?
I
in
don't
terms of
think
AI?
about it. We have so many rules in documentary. If you want something to be a documentary, it has to have this, and that. You know, I don't think that, I don't know, but, you know, people will try, I bet, when I'm gone. Don't you think so, Chip? They might try, but we have,
It's on, it's on. They can do it all, except have a.
yeah,
We're already living with driverless cars, you know, in the streets of San Francisco.
and that's very spooky, you know? Yeah.
Do you have a sense of the film community in the Bay Area or San Francisco these days?
In what way?
Like, you know, a group of filmmakers that are making films or venues that you frequent to see films?
I think more when I was younger. Now it's different, you know, it's very different. There's a new generation, our generation, you know, is fading away, and we will because that's our nature. But, you know, I think San Francisco has a spirit that is very valuable. You know, because we live the way that we do. You know, we've learned how to treat each other, and we've learned how to love each other and, you know, be there for each other, which is so wonderful. You know, especially artists. Yeah, so, Kimo Sabe.
As a filmmaker, how do you see capitalism in terms of filmmaking as a living or as an art? What is your feeling about that?
Well, if you make documentary, right, unless you had a job, you know, I mean, like Chip, you have had a job as a professor, I have as well, but not a constant job. I think either I make films or I teach. It's very time consuming. I don't know how to answer that question. Given, what do you think?
One or both a labor of love, or one for
That's
your money,
basically is,
one for your livelihood, one for your livelihood.
yeah, you're right. That's how it has to be, yeah. You know, because a lot of people go into it for the money. And if you go in, you know, for the money, then you have to dedicate yourself to that, to making money, and then it becomes
Commercial.
yeah, not that it's bad, but it gives you the wrong goals, right? Yeah.
I think it loses its heart. And
Yeah, it loses its heart, and then the filmmaker's always worried about, oh my God, I have to, you know, raise all this money, and I have to make this money, and let's make it sexier so it's more money. then art is not like that so much.
Art
I
is from the
think.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sacrifice.
Before we go, what would you say to any aspiring filmmakers or younger filmmakers? What kind of advice or words of encouragement would you say?
I would say, now that the equipment is so accessible and so sophisticated, try and make films, just do it. Don't do it for the money, do it from your heart. That's the big advice I have. Do things from your heart. And then people are touched and people are changed and people are excited, But if you're doing it for the money, it's just hard.
Did you want to say anything else before we adjourn?
This is a wonderful place. I'm so happy to be here. It reminds me of many other years in San Francisco and many other groups of people being together. And I'm happy to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lourdes.
There you go, honey. Anything to say, Chip? Chip is a professor. He's a film professor and an artist.
We had him here for a screening
Oh, you did?
last year.
Oh.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
December 2nd, is it?
I think so, yeah. We're having him again in December.
You should.
Okay, you tell me.
Yeah. Do you have any screenings coming up you want to mention in the Bay Area or beyond?
I think, the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, the Oscars, they have a museum now. The make company on Wilshire in Fairfax has a big building, and they bought it and they created a museum for filmmakers. And they did a big exhibit on my work.
Wow.
And that was really like a big honor
In Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles. And you can visit it, and the films are there, and pictures, and all kinds of things.
Wow.
It's going to be there for a while, right?
That's right, it's gonna be there for another year and a half. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as streaming, to see your work
Yes,
online, I know you have films on Canopy,
yes,
the Criterion Channel,
yes.
and where else? That's all I know offhand.
Women make movies, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for the
It's
invitation.
great to have you. Maybe we'll have you back. Keep in touch.
Okay,
Or come
okay.
to a screening if you'd like.
Yeah, I will. Do you distribute your notices of what films you're showing?
We have an email list. We can
Okay,
Well, I
put me
can
in
let you
your email.
keep
Yeah,
you in the loop.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You're
all
welcome.
of you. Thank you. Lots of luck here.
I think I'd rather see this than the Jennifer Lopez Selena film.
You see what I'm talking about?
I
AI?
still haven't seen the
Yes.
Jennifer Lopez version.
You see what it is? You see, it's so weird, right? I like that. I like the reality.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna wait for my son. Bye, sweetheart. Thank you.
You need some water or anything?
No, I'm okay. I'm
You
gonna
good?
use the restroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
Well, that was fun, Chip. I'm so happy you came. That's good. That's good.
With a K. So K-A-N-O-P-Y.
Thank you so much.
So that's a service through public libraries.
Allergy now.
It's a streaming service. You get a library card.
Oh, wow.
You can sign up for it and you get like 7 weeks of option to watch. There's at least
Wow.
like 3 films a month.
Okay, but don't worry.
I love
Is this film available by any chance on,
There's at
like
least
YouTube?
one of her films.
I think,
They have a lot
you
of
can
foreign film and stuff.
look me up on the internet and
They
have
were
a
like,
website. So you can
You're a
remind me, what is your name?